That's a look at the players and the decks in our finals, but who is going to take it down? I'm going to ask for some predictions now. First, you, Corey.
I think Ken's going to win this Pro Tour. You know, I think Mono Red is really well positioned, not only against Is It Prowess. It had a pretty dominant percentage-wise throughout the tournament, but I especially like Ken's version against Ian's, as he has those really powerful removal spells to deal with Draycatcher. And Vivi and has already won the matchup 5 times. I mean, all the signs are there to put Ken holding the trophy.
All right, what about you, Ailey? Who's going to
Corey, as you have said,
Yeah.
runs and streaks gotta end.
Yep.
5-0, I think is going to become 5-1.
Ooh,
I think Ian is going to take it down. He has been on such a crazy tear at the moment. Back-to-back Pro Tours. Okay, sure, maybe his luck is running out here, but
Yep.
I think Ian's got this.
We're going to find out.
All right, this is set up for a very, very exciting finals. I'm going to pass it on over to Marshall and Paul.
Yes, thank you, Maria. Welcome to the booth here at Pro Tour Final Fantasy. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon, and we are geared up for the finals. That's right, the Mono Red and Is It Prowess players fought it out amongst each other, producing a champion from each as our bracket happened to turn out. And in this case, it's Ken Yukuhiro versus Ian Robb. Ken's representing the Mono Red side of things, and Ian is on Is It Prowess.
Yeah, we finally get to see a different matchup, right? All day we've just been seeing mirror matches, but we finally get to see kind of one of the big matches we expected kind of coming into this. Which aggressive red deck will come out on top here?
That's right, and we get to find out now. Now, this could happen quickly, so you're not going to want to take a big sandwich break in the middle of our finals here, because we're bringing this to you live and in person. And yeah, this could go very quickly. Now, matchup-wise, Ken was the higher seed, so he will get the play. You know, even though this isn't quite the matchup that he's played in his prior 2 rounds with Mono Red, play's still huge.
Yeah, absolutely. It still plays out very similarly. If anything, the Mono Red deck is now firmly kind of the aggressive player in this type of matchup. It doesn't really have the ability to go long the way that this Is It Prowess deck has, but of course, it can get to far more explosive starts.
Take a look at Ken Yukuhiro there from Team Moriyama, Japan, and there's Ian Robb from for Fleckshot Diamond. Ken's from Japan, Ian's from the United States, and we are sitting down. You can see the trophy sitting there. Ken, this is top finish number 7 for him. Though of note, he has not yet converted one of those. The numbers are starting to get a little weighted towards his. You're supposed to win 1 out of 8,
It's
right?
tough.
That you top 8.
Right.
If you're lucky enough to top 8 8 times somehow. His top finishes go back all the way to 2012 in Barcelona at Pro Tour Avicen Restored, which, by the way, was my first Pro Tour on coverage as well. So me and Ken go back. And then Ian's was just the last PT at PT Ether Drift. Wow. This is his 2nd top finish.
Both players have been waiting a bit now. Ian leading out with a tap land here, but Ken on the play, absolutely huge here. Can get in for so much damage. Ian already down to 16, and Ken's got a lot of nice options too. No removal spells here for the Draycatcher. Cards like Draycatcher and Vivi, if they do live, can be kind of problematic, especially because, you know, the combination of Draycatcher plus Monstrous Rage is such a good one. If you can play a spell and a Monstrous Rage, boom, that's 2 Drakes.
You see the Magebane Lizard revealed to the Emerhard Challenger, but Ken's not going to have enough mana here to play it.
So this is 6 damage coming in. You can just block the Hired Claw here and just hope Ken doesn't have anything. Yeah. Now there's a Heartfire Hero, so now Ian does have the opportunity here. Can he get a big turn going with a Draycatcher to kind of try and stabilize this board? No interaction whatsoever in Ian's hand currently.
He's going to try to dig here, sleight of hand, maybe to find some way to get at least one of these threats off the board.
That is a wild ride, and that is a way to pump up the Draycatcher. However, I don't believe it gives trample the way that the Monstrous Rage does. So Ken can simply just block with the Heartfire Hero if that does happen. As you can see there, it gets +3/+0 and haste. And I don't think Ken wants to give Ian tokens here. Draycatcher currently a 3 power creature. Yep, blocks. He's like, please don't have Monstrous Rage. And he does not. that's kind of the way you get some free wins with this deck, with the combination of Draycatcher plus Monstrous Rage. That is a combo that's been very good against all the red decks, also very good in the mirror. Oh, wow, and that is a Twin Maw Stormbrood, or a Charring Bite here for the Draycatcher.
Wow.
Wonder if we're just going to fire that off on the Draycatcher. If Ian had a Monstrous Rage, he would have cast it already.
Right.
Just to trample through and make a bunch of flyers.
So it's just the one of Spell Pierce that Ken has to worry about then?
Right. Ken would have loved to find... I mean, if you can find a mana source here off the Challenger with the Manifold Mouse, that would be nice, because that would allow you to do a double spell turn here where you go Charring Bite plus the Magebane Lizard. But yes, this is possibly the most important turn, at least of game one here. Ian bluffing something here.
Ken's going to combat. Yeah, Ian. Oh, hello,
It's
Monstrous Rage gets
Monstrous
revealed.
Oh my goodness. And of course we know that the Emberheart Challenger has double strike here. It's almost always double strike. Oh, and that's now you found a 1-mana spell here to go with the Charring Bite. So now you can safely cast this Monstrous Rage and Charring Bite. And Ken's going to cast it, right? It's the only 1-mana play out of his hand.
Sure. Okay, he's going to put it on the Hired Claw.
So that is a 4-power creature. And that's just 2 damage. So his Emberheart Challenger actually just lives here. Oh, it does have double strike too. And if Ian has
So
no
it gets
spells,
to kill both of
it
these
kills
creatures?
both of these cards, and that's a 3/3.
Oh!
Yeah. No, his
And
creature
that
still
lives.
lives. It's a 3/3.
And he takes 4 from the Claw, too?
Right, and then you can just play Magebane Lizard, and what's Ian gonna do?
Right. No board state for Ian Robb left over, and Ken Yukuhiro, with that Monstrous Rage reveal, has fully taken control of this board. There's Vivi. Is it too late?
Well, okay. The problem is there's a Magebane Lizard in play, so this is now 1 damage. If Ian plays another spell, that's 2. If he plays 3 spells, he's just dead.
He's actually dead. And that sentence might be true regardless of what Ian does here. Yeah, he's going to scoop him up, and Ken Yukuhiro picks up a quick game 1. They can definitely go quickly in matchups like this. And that one certainly did. Players are now going to shuffle. I'll remind you that we play best 3 out of 5, actually for the whole top 8, not just the final, but of course also in the final. And that means that the players will not be consulting their sideboards until after this game.
And I will say this, we've seen Ken play those mono red matchups absolutely beautifully, choosing to pick his spots with when to attack, when to keep things back. This one, you know that motto that he goes by, always be attacking?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That kind of is the case in this matchup.
Ken's been really playing it up for the fans at home today. He said he's the best mono red player. He proved that, as he's the one that came out of that half of the bracket.
Although
He said always attack.
right?
And he's been doing a bunch of that too.
We'll note that Ian Robb is also not a slouch when it comes to understanding the mono red matchup, as he did top 8 the last Pro Tour with an aggressive deck.
Yeah, this deck is, the deck he's playing is not that dissimilar, but as you can see, it's a little bit of a stretch off. You can see Ian not happy about that opening loss. Ken looks pretty calm. He has been here before. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he's really intensely.
What is happening here?
I think he's visualizing the win.
Yeah, it's like mountain, hero,
Yeah.
mountain, manifold mouse.
And you heard Ken say, "You playing first?" And Ian said, "Uh-huh."
Good choice.
Uh-oh. Did you catch that? Ian's mulliganing, and he goes, "Come on." Like, just to himself, just that little,
course.
like, not like this. Give me a shot.
Like, if there's any moment, right? Because you dream about moments like this. You're in the Pro Tour finals. You just, at the very least, just want to have a good match of Magic.
Yeah, it is interesting seeing Ian's demeanor. You can sense the urgency from him. He really wants to get on the board here, get a win against Ken.
Yeah, and
This is the point at which you usually start bargaining with the magic odds. You know, just keepable hand. Doesn't have to be perfect.
right. All right, looks like Ian did keep this 6 here. And the mulligan decision was extremely quick, too.
Yeah, so this could be a really nice 6. And remember, he's going to be on the play as well. So, game number 2 upon us. Land go from Ian, not from Ken, though.
He did have Hardfire Hero into Manifold Mouse, but I think Lightning Strike on the Draycatcher makes a lot of sense here.
Wow.
That is the card that can just snowball the game out of control. Get it while Ian doesn't have mana up.
That's right. That's the one Lightning Strike for Ken Yukuhiro. He just wanted one more burn spell, and that's the one that he chose.
And no third land here from Ian. He has got the Corey Steel Cutter, but he's taking 4 damage this turn. And guess what? There's a little bit more. Hired Claw coming in as well here from Ken Yukuhiro.
Big turn for Ian Robb now. He's got Opt, Storm Chaser's Talent, Monstrous Rage, and another Cutter.
Yeah, if he found a third land, being able to go Cutter
Cutter
into spell would have been so big. Now, he did find a land here. Might still play the Cutter here, but you only have the 1 token and you're already down to 15. And there's no interaction here from Ian's hand. Right?
Yeah, that's the real problem. Like that
don't-
stock up is miles away.
Right, if you don't have the removal spell for the mouse combo, you just die. We've seen it time and time again.
But what choice does he have? Right?
Yeah.
Is it just land, Steel Cutter, pray?
Block, chump. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to attack.
Okay, he
Okay.
does pass the turn back. Mountain off the top of the library here for Yukuhiro.
Yeah, another land is quite nice here because now you can play out the Emberheart Challenger.
He can double spell this turn, or he can Manifold Mouse.
Yeah,
With Offspring, he's got a lot of choices.
a lot
here.
of options. No spells here. Like any type
Yeah.
of spell would be nice because then that would let you attack with the Hired Claw as well. If you tap out, then you can't attack with the Hired Claw because it is a 1/2. So I understand why Ken is thinking through all the options here.
This is a huge turn for him.
Okay, so going to be double striking both of those creatures.
So he played Manifold
Trigger.
Mouse.
Yeah. And that's just going to be milled, or excuse me, he's not going to be able to play that card, of course.
Yeah, Burst Lightning just gets exiled here, and it's just going to stay that way.
And this is what, 10 damage coming in?
Wow. Is Ian forced to chump block already?
Yeah.
There's no trample happening here,
Right,
right?
they're both double strike,
Right.
most likely. So
So-
I imagine maybe you just put the token in front of the Hardfire Hero, you're saving yourself 6 damage. Yep.
Take 4 down to 11, go.
Okay, so
Can Ian pop off here with the 2 Corey Steel Cutters on the board?
it's tough. Oh, there's a Wild Ride. I don't think he has close to lethal here, though. But he will be able to play a couple of spells. Wait. It's got Wild Ride. Monstrous Rage, I guess? Oh.
Okay.
Okay, Corey Steel Cutter. How much damage
I
are
mean,
we
this is
looking
starting
at
to
here?
add up very quickly.
Right, and there's also a Monstrous Rage here. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus Monstrous Rage. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 15 damage?
It's a really nice turn, but Ken's at 20. So he's just going to sit back with the 2 monks and only attack with the otter.
Yeah. Interesting, because the other line here, because he didn't play a 4th land, would have been to maybe just play stock up first, try to find a land, then play Storm Chaser's Talent. You still trigger the Corey Steel Cutter. Now, noting that by playing it this way, you still get to keep up and bluff and into the Floodmaw or Torch to Tower, which could be Ian's maybe only chance at potentially staying alive here. Also, by using that Monstrous Rage at instant speed, you do have the ability to pump up your creatures with prowess to make sure that you don't just die next turn.
Right. Still thinking.
Now, this doesn't have Trample currently, so just considering chump blocking with the Hired Claw, keeping the life total high. Oh, going for the rage. So now you're tapped out.
Boy, this does tap out Robb, though.
9, so take 7.
This is going to be a lot of valuable information for Yukuhiro. And
Okay.
just 2 2/2s back.
Oh,
Got
just the
Emberheart
Hired Claw.
Challenger. Okay.
Okay, just creatures here. Now, of course, with the double manifold mice, you do get another look here if you do target the Ember Heart Challenger. You can also go trample and double strike,
on
right?
one.
Because you do have the 2 mice in play on the Heartfire hero. You can also pump it with the Rock-Faced Village that's in play right now. So a lot of options here. Ken just running through all the numbers here, noting that he does need to fight through 4 toughness here.
Yeah,
He's feeling pretty confident here, though. Do you just attack with everything?
There's an Ember
Double
Heart
strike, trample,
Challenger.
attack with everything.
Wow, everything comes in the red zone.
So if you just attack the 2, if you block the 2 creatures on the right, this is 10, 12 damage coming in on the creatures on the left,
That's
right?
game.
That's game.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that's 12 damage, and Ken Yukuhiro has won 2 quick games and is 1 game away from being a Pro Tour champion here. This is happening quickly.
I mean, this is what you expect from the mono red deck, right? I mean, kind of coming into this tournament, the big bad was the Izzet Cutter decks. And yes, the Izzet Cutter deck is extremely, extremely powerful. But at the same time, if you really look at the past tournament results, it's basically mono red almost winning every single one of the major events. It means, I mean, the deck is still extremely powerful and it just has a very proactive penalty. It doesn't really care about what your opponents are doing. It made that slight adjustment too, right? Before it would play other 2-mana plays. Now you even have access to Magebane Lizard, which is a really, really big problem to deal with as well. Now we're seeing Ken Yukuhiro with a 2-0 lead in this matchup.
Impressive stuff from Ken and the mono red list. We're gonna take a short break from here. Players are gonna be looking at their sideboards, and we're going to be back with Game 3 right after this. And welcome back to coverage here of Pro Tour Final Fantasy. We are in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm with Paul Cheon, and we are in the finals. If you're just joining us, it's Ken Yukuhiro playing mono red. Ian Robb finds himself down 2-0 with Is It Prowess, as Ken was able to win the first game on the play. He's the higher seed. And then a mulligan from Ian Robb. Even though he was on the play, he wasn't quite able to establish enough of a board state. And Ken went wide.
Yeah.
Took 12 from the unblocked creatures in the last turn, did Ian. And he finds himself in the unenviable position of needing to win 3 games in a row to be a PT champ.
I think both players might be
Looks like they're both on 6.
on a mulligan here. Now, I will say I really like Ken's setup in this particular matchup. The cards that Ian really needs to rely on to like, I think the heavy hitters in his deck are those blue permanents, right? So we're talking about Draycatcher and Vivi. And by having 4 copies of Charring Bite in the main, along with 2 copies of Lithomantic Barrage in the sideboard, that gives you 6 answers to those problematic creatures. And if you can find an answer to those, I mean, those prowess creatures don't look all that impressive on defense, right? Because oftentimes you're just kind of tapped out. So yeah, Ken has lots and lots of answers to kind of the cards that you would consider the trump cards from Ian Robb.
Ken has Mountain Heartfire Hero. He, I believe, had kept a 1-lander, but it looks like he's found another mountain, and that is critical.
And Ian kept at hand of all islands, no cantrips, has 2 red cards in hand, but can't play any of them.
Yeah, it looks like he played a sleight of hand and has not found what he was looking for, at least red mana-wise.
Right.
Storm
Storm
Chaser's
Chaser's
talent. That is not red. Triple island opener.
Yeah, I mean, this is just not ideal. Has nothing else to play here. There's an unable to scream. Do you just put it on the Emberheart Challenger here? You just need to do something, right?
Sure do.
Okay.
And attack for 3. Ian Robb doing everything he can, but he's going to run out of runway very quickly if he doesn't find red mana shortly.
Ken has a handful of removal, can play another Challenger here.
Yep. Immediately.
Okay. All right.
15. Go. Is this a red source?
Yep.
It is Riverfire
Did
Verge.
find a red source here. There is a Vivi, but it's a naked Vivi. That's an 0-3. Doesn't have a spell. And Ken Yukuhiro does have the Charring Bite here. Not using Suplex, of course, because if Ian does have an opt, could counter it.
And plays it safe. It would have actually worked, but
right.
It doesn't know that, of course.
And you get the prowess trigger here from the Challenger. You can still attack for 3. Actually attacking with both. He's like, you know what? You drew the red source. You don't have a spell here.
Great read from Ken. Ian surveys the scene.
And Ian thinking, well, maybe I just put my creature in front of the Heartfire Hero here, right? It is a 1/1. It's like if you have a Monstrous Rage, I'm already behind here. Maybe I just put my Otter token in front of the Heartfire Hero.
And he didn't block.
Okay.
Ken gets through for extra damage.
He needs another spell here to go with the Corey Steelcutter. He does look kind of excited. Maybe he finds a second card.
He did. Sleight of hand.
All right. Into the Flood Maw or Unable to Scream would be an excellent find here.
This is how it can go.
That is a Torch to Tower, but only has that blue mana up at least for this turn.
Ken sitting on double suplex and another Challenger.
And this is an attack for 8 right now, right? That's 2 spells with the Otters were in play.
Yes.
So we're looking at 3, 6, 7, 8 damage coming in. And Ian's at 11, but as far as with Ken's hand, it's a lot more controlling, right? So you can't really get it for a bunch. But remember, with Unable to Scream, you can still block.
Yeah. In this case, it's just going to be a chump block, but he'll
so
take
he takes 5. Oh, and Wild Ride on the creature with Corey Steelcutter on it. That's a lot of damage.
Self-destruct drawn from Yukuhiro?
Oh. Okay, it doesn't have 4 lands here, though, right? So you can't, like, cast Suplex into Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct with Heartfire Hero is 4 damage, I think.
So he just needs to get rid of the Steel Cutter here?
The Steel Cutter here, most likely. Okay.
It's going to exile that.
Oh, and keeps a creature back to block, to play around, potentially a wild ride, right?
Wow.
Okay, Mountain. Okay, we can look at the
There's Wild
graveyard.
Ride, yeah.
He can get a 1-mana spell back from the graveyard with the Storm Chaser's talent. You can also play a Wild Ride and harmonize it. But I don't think you're going to have enough damage here. Ken is at 10 life here.
So Ian's going to start off with his land, activate Storm Chaser's talent, get back Sleight of Hand, and cast it.
Ken might be really, really close here, depending on what Ian does here. He can't play another spell this turn, right?
Nope. He
You
already
either
played
take
his
a land or a spell. This is a potential attack for 6 here, which would put Ken down to 4.
And it seems difficult for Ken to get 8 damage through, but...
I mean, through blocker for sure, right?
Right. Ian played last game quite aggressively. Will he do the same here?
So if you block, let's say you chump, is he going to attack with everything? Okay, just with the 2.
He's going to leave back 1 otter for blocks.
If Ken can find like a monstrous rage off the top, that would just be game. Okay,
Oh, totally.
all right,
With
there we are.
self-destruct.
A land would also be fantastic. I think a land could also do it here.
He found a Hired Claw.
Higher Claw does not quite get it done.
He can double spell this turn, but is he just going to get ran over?
Right, especially with that Wild Ride, you have to be careful here. Those otter tokens can just provide lethal, especially if Ken just doesn't have a board. I mean, you could use Suplex just to kill one of the creatures.
Is Ian going to block regardless here? Like, does Ken get to just attack and eat an otter effectively?
Yeah, I mean, if you attack
'Cause
with
then
the
you
Emberheart
could suplex
Challenger,
another one, right?
right, and then you're just down to the 1 token.
And you know, you can die from that too, but
Right.
that's a lot harder.
Oh, he's just going for the-
Suplex it.
Okay, getting for 3, and the 2 blockers is not bad.
Yeah,
you're
he
at 5. Okay.
Oh, this is super close.
All right, what can Ian
Who
find
can
here?
find a monstrous rage
He's got
first?
he's got a Wild Ride here too. Unable to scream. That's the problem with Unable to Scream though, right? It doesn't remove the creature.
No.
You still bring it in because it's a cheap answer to Magebane Lizard, but they still get to block.
Absolutely. In fact, it upgrades as a blocker.
Right.
Gives it an extra toughness on that hero. 6 to 5 life totals. Ken Yukuhiro so close.
Yeah, I mean, like, and now with Ian at 5 life, all you need to do is attack with Hired Claw, get your opponent down to 4, and then you can cast Self-Destruct.
So so if Ian does want to use Unable to Scream, it needs to be on the Hired Claw.
Or the Heartfire Hero.
They're both the same.
Well, because if you put in the Heartfire Hero, okay. Oh,
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
It does leave both blockers anyway, which they were going to be there.
but then now Ken has the win, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's got 1 mana up. He's got 1 mana up, but didn't play the Sleight of Hand.
Right. Ken is aware of that, but he is not aware of the other card.
But the land is huge here because you can also play with the Emberheart Challenger.
Yes, you can. There's Ken Yukuhiro playing Emberheart Challenger, turning everything sideways. He's going to get the Hired Claw trigger.
What are you going to block with, Ian? Ian's just bluffing here. He's got nothing.
He
Ken
has
just goes
absolutely
for it.
nothing.
This is the game.
Ken seconds away from being a Pro Tour champion. He's been here 7 times now.
Wow.
He knows one of Ian's cards.
Right.
He just doesn't know what the other one is.
But and Ken even has a blocker here too, even
Yes.
through something, right?
Go damage. Yep, I'm going to.
Okay, and
Go
Ken
to
can,
damage.
Ken can kind of play it patiently here too. He doesn't have to fire it off now. He could wait, right, to see if Ian's the first person to flinch. Now the Ken has to go, do you have the answer to this self-destruct or do I wait? Because he can wait at any point with this self-destruct.
Once the way is clear, there's a land,
Sleight of hand.
there's Sleight of Hand.
Okay.
It's still that
What
one
you got?
unknown card in hand.
What you got?
He found Corey's Steel Cutter.
And into the Flood Maw here. He does have Wild Ride too. So if he goes bounce your token and then goes for the Wild Ride kill, Ken will then get him with the self-destruct.
Yes, he will.
But that's probably his line here, right? If you're Ian Robb.
Yes.
Wild Ride, Super Prowess.
There's Wild Ride. He thinks he's going for the game win, but Ken has set the trap.
Last card in hand, Ken knows.
And now Ken can just fire it off. And Ken Yukuhiro does 2 damage to Ian Robb to become a Pro Tour champion. Unbelievable from Ken Yukuhiro as he breaks down. This is the culmination of a career of hard work for Ken Yukuhiro, and you can see it on his face.
7th time is the charm. This is Ken Yukuhiro's 7th top finish, and this is his first Pro Tour title.
What a moment for Ken. He's been working towards this goal for so long.
No, it means a lot.
Oh,
You should be happy. I don't want you to not be unhappy. It's... Congratulations, I'm so happy for you. Thank you.
And Ian Robb here too, showing incredible grace in defeat.
that
Playing
was
for the
really
title
nice
of the
of
Pro
Ian.
Tour.
That was really nice of Ian to say, hey, you should be happy. It
Yeah.
means a lot. You know, losing in the finals of a Pro Tour, it stings. You
Yeah.
know you don't get many chances at that, and that was a class act there from Ian Robb. Ken Yukuhiro overcome with emotion, but he is your Pro Tour champion. Huge round of applause from his fans.
Grabs that trophy.
Oh, fantastic.
And on this day, Ken Yukuhiro is the best mono red player in the world.
He wasn't lying, was he, Paul?
3-0.
Well, it looks like the tears have stopped and the smiles you hear. No, he's going for both at the same time.
It's not going to stop.
Oh, I love this. This is so beautiful. It shows how much this means to Ken. Wow. What a huge moment for Ken Yukuhiro, and honestly for competitive Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ken Yukuhiro has been a Pro Tour mainstay for a very long time. I think there was like a short period of time where he wasn't playing. It actually kind of felt kind of weird because he wasn't there, but then he managed to find a way to get back, qualify for the Pro Tour, and it was just a matter of time. I mean, he is one of the greatest players out there. 7 top finishes is absolutely incredible, and to finally get there with his deck in just such a convincing, dominant fashion, being patient. And that's a weird thing, right? When you talk about a deck like Mono Red, you got, oh, pure aggression, pure aggression. That is not the case for Ken Yukuhiro. Every single turn, he just took the perfect line. That's the reason why he is the Pro Tour champion.
You could almost see it, Paul, when he was going to turn over that last card, that he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, his hands were shaking. He's like, I just did it. And it's incredible because, you know, like as competitive players, we tend to be a little more on the stoic side while we're playing, right? But what we saw after that breakdown of emotion from him, that release, that shows what's going on the inside.
I mean, it's the competitive dream, right? It is everybody's dream. It's like, I want to make it to the Pro Tour, but then what? It's like, I want to win the whole darn thing. And Ken Yukuhiro is now the champion. And I mean, I feel for him. I mean, I used to play competitively too, and this is what it's all about.
It is.
Know?
It's what it's all about, and it's a beautiful moment. Everybody take a deep breath. That was fantastic. We've got Maria over at the news desk right now.
Thank you so much, Marshall and Paul. What an incredible victory for our new Pro Tour champion, Ken Yukuhiro, and so incredibly well-deserved.
Yeah.
Corey, your thoughts?
I mean, Paul said it like perfectly there. Everybody who has wanted to play a professional tournament, play Magic professionally, seeing those moments like really touches you, you know? Like that is exactly what it's all about, and seeing that reaction, you know, it's hard to have a dry eye. In the building, for all you at home, huge congrats to Ken. I mean, this is just so special.
I know.
Magic's the best.
Magic's the best. Ken is the best. Alias standing by now with the trophy presentation.